During this video segment, we will talk about the lesson planner in Curriculum Trak and how that integrates with Renweb. First of all, it's important to recognize that as a Renweb and Curriculum Trak school, you have two options for your teachers for their lesson planning. Renweb includes a free lesson planning tool that you can use, or you can use Curriculum Trak's lesson planner. The Renweb lesson planner is included in your Renweb base fee, whereas the lesson planner in Curriculum Trak does require an add-on fee. It's typically 50% of what you normally pay for Curriculum Trak on an annual basis. You can find that on our website by going to curriculumtrak.com and find these prices. So why might you use one versus another? If your goal is to have simple lesson planning that is used to communicate back with your parents about homework and assignments, and that's your primary goal, and to have some simple notes related to your lesson plans, I would recommend that you use Renweb's tool as it's free for you. However, if you're looking for a tool that's maybe a little bit more robust and has more reporting built in, and then probably one of the biggest advantages of using our lesson planner is that it integrates directly with your units in Curriculum Trak. So when you add a brand new lesson, you say which unit it's attached to, and then some of that unit planning content can be pulled down into your lesson plan. So let's take a closer look at that. Let's go ahead and log into Curriculum Trak, and I'm going to go to the lesson plans and go to the lessons database. So this is where I can add in my lessons. So let's go ahead and add in a lesson here called Adding Fractions. And it's in 5th grade. And then these would be the list of all the units that I have set up in Curriculum Trak. I only have one so far, but your teachers should, if they have their units already developed, they can choose which unit this lesson's attached to. By doing that, it takes the benchmarks that were attached to that unit right into this lesson, as well as all your unit attachments. That's really nice because then you can just say, okay, these are the benchmarks that will be addressed in this particular unit, but in this lesson, this daily lesson, I'm going to be zeroing in on this particular standard or this one. And then if this particular activity is one, or this attachment is one you want to use in this daily lesson, you can simply click on it and it pulls it from your unit plan right into your lesson plan. You can also specify the dates that you're going to teach it. So I'm going to teach this on tomorrow, October 30. And then I can go ahead and put in my content. Now again, with Renweb, you have a certain number of fields. Here you can have as many fields as you want. You can call them whatever you want, order them how you want, and so forth. So I can put in some of my content. And I'm going to go ahead and pause and just fill these in to save your time. So again, I can put in all my content here. And not only can I pull in unit attachments, but if I wanted to create attachments on the fly specifically for this lesson, I can go ahead and add those here as well. I'm not going to in this case, and I'll go ahead and click Add. So now if we want to go and look at, it looks like I have 2 lessons on the same day. That's fine. I can change that. So let's go to the weekly planner, and you'll see that I have those 2 lessons on the same day. So I'm going to edit that. And instead, what I meant to do is let's put the adding decimals here, and we'll leave the adding fractions on Thursday. So let's take that out of there. And so now, notice I have my adding decimals, adding fractions, click close, and I have it set up properly. So that's how we use our lesson planner. But what I really want to show you is how this now can integrate with Renweb. So I'm going to go ahead and log into Renweb, actually Faculty Web, for this particular school. And if I go to lesson plans, that will show me the lesson plans for the current week. Notice that there is no data in here. The way that our system works is this data will automatically get pushed into Renweb in the middle of the night, about 1 or 2 a.m. depending on what your time zone is, but it'll automatically synchronize and push the content from here into Renweb. Why is that advantageous? Well, you can use our tool because it has all the bells and whistles, and if you like our lesson planner and how it integrates with Curriculum Trak, you can use this as your primary lesson planner. However, if you want your parents to be able to see some lesson plan content, in particular homework and assignments, then you can push that into Renweb so that parents can see it on Parents Web and all the other tools that are available to them to see lesson plans. So we want to get it into here. And rather than have dual entry, again, there's a synchronization that happens every night. Or if you want as a teacher, you can at any time go to class section setup and say, I want to synchronize now. I don't want to wait until tonight. So by doing that, now if I come back in here and if I click on lesson plans, notice that it brought in my homework as well as some of my lesson plan content. It didn't bring in all my lesson plan content, but that's because as a school, you can dictate out of all the fields. So let's go back to the lesson plan database and edit this. You can decide which of these fields get pushed into Renweb. Right now, I have the homework being pushed in, but I believe I have the instruction details, but not the introductory set and resources. That is dictated at the administrative level by your administrators. You can learn more about that on the video on how to set up the integration with Renweb. So it's a separate video. However, you see that you now can have that content pushed in. One thing that's very important to note is you really shouldn't use this lesson planner if you're planning on using the DIS or the Curriculum Trak one. Because if you had content in these squares, in these boxes, and you did the synchronization, it would override what you had typed into Renweb manually. So again, you'll want to do one or the other. The other thing that's very important to remember is not all your teachers have to use this lesson planner. If you have some teachers using Renwebs and some of them using the Curriculum Trak one, that's fine. Basically, the important thing to remember is in the class section setup, and it shows more about this in the video on how to set up the synchronization. But on this particular page, if you have this attached to a Renweb section, it would push it through. If you take that out and click Save, then for that individual class, for this individual teacher, it would not do the synchronization. If you have more questions on whether your school should use Renweb's lesson planner or Curriculum Trak's lesson planner, just submit a support ticket to us and we'll reach out to you to talk about the pros and cons of each. But basically, if you want it to be integrated with your unit plans and you like some of our robust tools in our curriculum, our unit planner, then you may want to use our lesson planner and have the data pushed into Renweb so that parents still can see homework and assignments and such. Thanks and have a great day.